There's a lot of division in the world right now. There's a lot of controversy, and even though I may end up losing a lot of subscribers from what I'm about to say, I just have to say it because it's on my heart, and I know it's right, and I know it's the truth, and that's why I am actually going to endorse John Ternus to take over Apple after Tim Cook, because he's done such a great job with the Mac lineup. And even though the new M4 MacBook Pros do look pretty impressive on paper, the question still remains, is now the best time to upgrade, or should we wait a little bit longer for what the MacBook Pros have in store around the corner? Let's begin. So, as you guys know, the MacBook Pro design language is not something that gets updated every year, or even every other year. We kind of had the 2016 MacBook Pro design, you know, with the touch bar and the 4 USB-C ports, all the way up until 2021. That's when Apple finally refreshed it with the legacy ports and the notch. And it sounds like if we extrapolate that timeline out again, Apple is planning for another MacBook Pro design overhaul around 2026, at least according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. And allegedly, that's the year Apple is actually intending on switching over to OLED panels for the MacBook Pro, which in theory should have better specs like better brightness and better battery life and that type of thing, but the truth is Mini LED has gotten improved quite a bit on the M4 generations. Now, with standard dynamic range content getting up to 1,000 nits, which we believe the older MacBook Pros can already do if you download these like third-party apps that artificially boost the brightness, but apparently there's not a lot of downsides, and a lot of people have been using these apps for years and not reporting any major issues. So I guess the debate becomes, is OLED worth the wait? I mean, you do get the jump to a 2 million to 1 contrast ratio instead of 1 million to 1, but is that the type of display specification most people are looking out for? I don't know, probably not. And it's also far too early for us to realize what this redesigned MacBook Pro is going to look like. Rumors are saying that they want to make it thinner, I guess, but I feel like all that's really going to involve is shrinking the overall battery capacity and weakening the thermal architecture on the MacBook Pros. I feel like MacBook Airs are what we should focus on if we're trying to make them thinner and lighter and more compact, but the Pros should be all about the ports, the I/O, and the performance. So I don't get particularly excited, honestly, about the concept of the MacBook Pro being redesigned again, but it should be noted that there's a little bit more of a pattern, at least when it comes into the performance gains on the MacBook Pros. A lot of people wanted to go out and buy the M3 variants, even though they felt like, hey, the M2 Pro and M2 Max are not even that old, but now that the M3 is out, these ones are faster and better than before, so I better upgrade now, even though there weren't really that many changes to the M2 generation to M3, but here we are, a year goes by, and here's the whole M4 family of chips, which stands to believe that if Mark Gurman is right, around this time next year, we're going to be looking at very similar MacBook Pros, but now with M5 chips in them, and yes, they will likely be marginally faster. In fact, I hope that the M5 family of chips has more of an emphasis on efficiency over performance, because allegedly the next generation Apple Vision Pro, which is supposedly coming out at the end of next year, that's also going to be rocking an M5 chip. So they're going to be skipping the M3 and M4, and I'm hoping that that results in Vision Pro getting a battery life boost, which it desperately needs, and also if they can find a way to get the price down or maybe the price lower, that would be appreciated as well. But the M4 is definitely the talk of the town right now, but I think it's worth mentioning that Apple at least appears to have a little bit of consistency with the chip upgrades now with the Mac line. As far as the MacBook Pros are concerned, it feels like they might get refreshed annually, but maybe don't expect an actual redesign on the outside appearance until the end of 2026. So if you're willing to wait for another 2 years, you might be getting those tandem OLED panels, which might mean slightly better battery life, but again, I feel like with a MacBook Pro, that's more down to the chip than it is the display. And all that's really rumored about the redesign is that it might be thinner. I don't think that they're going to move towards boxy. I still expect the bottom of it to be curved with the top a bit more flat. So if you want my advice, I think that the Apple Silicon refresh has been an amazing one that's very hard to top. And I would say just save yourself some money and buy certified refurbished or used on the M1 family of MacBook Pros, because those are still great. You can find them for thousands of dollars less money than what it would cost to buy an M4 or M3 variant, and you'll get probably 95% the same experience. Unless you really need Thunderbolt 5 for some reason. Most people really don't. Or you really need HDMI 2.1. Very specific reasons I think you need to upgrade, but for just general usage, a lot of people out there still rocking Intel MacBook Pros. I don't think you necessarily need the latest and best, because guess what? The M4 MacBook Pros you buy today are only going to be the latest and best for about a year, and then you're gonna have not the latest generation MacBook Pro anyway. So if you plan on owning these things for 4, 5, 6 years, which most Mac buyers do, there's a very small window where you actually have the latest MacBook. So I'm just like, why don't you just decide that you're not gonna have the latest MacBook Pro right from the beginning and go ahead and save yourselves hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars? Because at this point, Apple has not convinced me that the latest generation MacBook Pros are worth the upgrade, unless just like every single second of export time is that important and crucial to you. The mini LED displays are still great on the older MacBooks. They're still plenty fast. They've got great port selections, and they still support all those Apple Intelligence features that they keep hyping up. But what do you guys think of the redesign that is allegedly about 2 years away? What features do you want on that next-gen MacBook Pro? Dynamic Island on that big of a screen? I don't know. It sounds kind of tacky and weird to me. I don't think they're going to do it, but would Face ID convince you to wait for a redesigned MacBook Pro? That's not what's rumored, but I'm just grasping at straws here. What could they possibly add? What could they change? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Pure, and I will see you all in the next one.